Okay. Taylor Lorenz smears MrBeast as ableist. Is this the article that you were talking about? I really just don't understand how. I don't understand. Everybody just likes to use buzzwords, and nowadays it's actually incredible.
There is no way for me to make a segue to our next segment eloquently, but we wanted to give you a little update on some continued MrBeast derangement syndrome.
I think it really just comes down to MrBeast is like a really big name that people can easily clickbait. But I personally don't get it. You know, it's a pretty basic situation. MrBeast did charity work, and he gets paid to do charity work. Good for him. It lets him keep doing charity work. The system should be better, but MrBeast isn't making it any worse. He's found a way to monetize helping people. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think that he's a dishonest person. I think that he likes to help people, and he knows that he needs a financial infrastructure to do that. And if you want blind people to get the care that they need, let's actually do something real, like advocate for like universal health care in some capacity, like a baseline amount of health care for people who can't afford it. That's what I think we should do. That's pretty much it. We don't have to go after MrBeast for trying to do a nice thing. We're at a point now where like the expectation is if MrBeast can't cure poverty, then MrBeast is literally an oppressor. Like that's where we're at. All right. I don't know what else to say, but
as we covered here previously, MrBeast put out a video. Gigantic YouTube star, for those of you who don't know. I'm sure most of you do. I mean, he's actually the top YouTube creator in the entire world.
Well, I'm actually a little more gigantic. Okay, he's more like a Pluto to my Saturn.
So very famous and successful guy. He's known.
I'm fat.
For these sort of acts of random charity and giveaways. And one of his most recent videos, he paid for 1,000 people to have their blindness treated. So
yeah, and then he gave some of them like a car and stuff. It was pretty cool.
That they, were no longer visually impaired and able to see again. He went into the
yeah, and I think if anything, it showed how like it's crazy how this surgery isn't more accessible because they recover in like an hour. It was like a big nothing. It was a very easy surgery to do. And he didn't just do 1,000 people, I think. I think he did like 1,000 people in the US. I don't really remember, but he did it like all over the world too. So it was really cool.
That about how many people around the world suffer from curable blindness. And he was, with people in the United States where it's disgusting that they wouldn't have access to this surgery without MrBeast coming in and paying for it. So, most normal people, in fact, I would say all normal people, look at this and go, that's good that he did that.
Great. That's good. That's really cool. And then also the fact that he had to do it is embarrassing for our government. Like, that's what I look at. It's actually embarrassing that MrBeast is able to do this, and our government is so ineffective that they can't even provide baseline levels of care for people to get a surgery that you recover from in an hour to help you get off of welfare systems and back into the workforce. Like, you can't even propose like a financial argument. It's like, well, money-wise, it helps people go to work. Like, they literally can work because they can see. Like, you have no argument against providing services like this for free. It's actually insane. Okay, same people that are like, no, I actually kind of like our healthcare system. I think I don't know why you like paying $30 for a Tylenol if you go to the emergency room. That's incredible to me. But okay.
Great. 1,000 people who wanted to see can see now. That's cool. All right, let's move on. But
what if I didn't want to see and I wanted to blind myself and be trans blind? There was some girl who did that. It's so weird.
That hasn't stopped some people from being deeply offended by the fact that, MrBeast took this approach. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. This is from TechCrunch. Headline here, MrBeast
I thought, why does it say Taylor Lawrence smears MrBeast then if it's from Stephen Aquino or whatever?
Puts systemic...
Maybe the people in Breaking Points are blind and they need the surgery too.
Ableism on display. Okay. Let me read you a little bit from this piece. Recently, megastar creator...
Oh, wait a minute. It says MrBeast blindness video puts systemic ableism on display. Are they saying that MrBeast is ableist? Or are they saying that MrBeast videos puts systemic ableism on display? In the sense that it's saying, oh, look at how easy we could cure some of these problems, and our government is ineffective and doesn't do it. And because they don't do it, that is our government being ableist in some capacity. If that's what they're saying, I think I agree with that. If they're saying that MrBeast exposed like the government's ineffectiveness and like nonchalant attitude towards people with disabilities that are curable to help them function better, then that would be MrBeast exposing a government problem. Is that what the article is saying? Or is the article calling MrBeast ableist?
MrBeast posted a video to his YouTube in which he spotlights numerous blind and visually impaired people who have undergone a surgical procedure that, quote, cures their blindness. As of this writing, the video has been viewed more than 76 million times, and the responses have been visceral in both praise and contempt. For his part, MrBeast has taken to Twitter to publicly bemoan the fact that so many are so angry at him for putting on what amounts to a publicity stunt under the guise of selfless charity. The truth is...
Well, if they're saying that, then, I suppose that's just shitting on MrBeast.
Straightforward, the video was more ableist than altruistic. His reasoning that he lays out in this article, he says, in the broadest lens, the biggest problem with wanting to cure blindness is that it reinforces a moral superiority of sorts by those without disabilities over those who are disabled, although not confronted nearly as often as racism and sexism.
Oh my God. Wow. Wait, so there's... Is that real? So what they're trying to say here is that because MrBeast is curing blindness, he's actually saying that people who are blind are not as good of people as people who can see. That's their argument now. We're going through mental gymnastics. What a base. Yeah, what a base. You know, I hate people who do that stuff because, like, there are people who are born and, like, let's be honest, like, disabilities, generally speaking, suck. I have ADHD. I would probably be doing better off if I didn't have it. Now that I'm at a spot where I have ADHD, I wouldn't want to change it because it's part of who I am. But, like, for instance, if you ask Papa Gut, would you want your kid born with ADHD or without? I'd be like, let's take the without option, okay? You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. And it's like, I know I'm not a bad person to have because I have ADHD, but it makes, like, it's a little bit of a struggle, right? I don't want my kid to have that struggle. And so now we're so woke that, like, and we're so dumb too, because, like, and I'm going to take this to, like, individuals' intellectual and developmental disabilities because my wife is a behavioral specialist, blah, 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 add to the bingo, Papa Gut bingo. Okay, shut up. Like, if you were able to cure some of their problems, it would help them, perform in society. They're not worse off people for the issues that they have, but people don't want to have. Why would you want to struggle? You think that there are people who want to be, like, non-verbally autistic, who, like, have a really difficult time communicating their wants, needs, and desires to people? No, nobody wants that. And if we could get rid of that, if we could do some kind of neurological thing to help somebody, like, it's their choice whether they want to go through with a surgery, but, like, that's helpful. I don't understand. So if I was blind, I wouldn't want to not be blind. I would like to not be blind. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's what a weird, like, morally superior thing to say. What a weird. God, we're so woke now. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Akrella. Congrats on 220K. Thank you, brother. Let's see how you're doing, man. You're probably 1,000K, bro. You're doing really well. God bless you, my brother in Christ. 183, dude. You're almost at 200, okay? You're almost at 200. I'm going to have to congratulate you on that.
Systemic ableism is pervasive throughout all parts of society. The fact of the matter is that the majority of abled people view disability as a failure of the human condition.
No, it's not. It just sucks. That's it. No, it's all it is. I think a bigger issue with if you want to talk about ableism is the fact that we just, like, brazenly use the R slur still. That's the bigger problem. And we don't respect people with disabilities. That's really what it comes down to. Like, let me give you, for instance, like, people like the ID community. We're just gonna go with that. It's quicker. They used to do they used to do volunteer work before COVID. COVID hit. They had to shut those things down for COVID. Makes sense. Now that everything's back up, they're still shut down for COVID because they don't want to work with people with disabilities. That's ableist. That's a real problem. You're removing some of these people's ability to go out, do something fun, functioning, and help society because you just don't want to deal with them, despite the fact that they are counseled by support staff. These are real ableist issues. This MrBeast is not ableist, okay?
As such, people with disabilities should be mourned and pitied. More pointedly, as MrBeast stated in his video's thumbnail, disability should be eradicated or cured. Okay, so the argument here...
Ideally, nobody with a disability really wants one. I know I said before I have ADHD and I wouldn't want to change, but I wish I wasn't born with it, right? Like, we're not talking about killing off babies with Down syndrome here. We're just talking about, like, if you could cure blindness and the person wants their blindness to be cured. If somebody consents to having their disability removed by a surgery, why does it matter? You're giving that person the autonomy to make the choice. How is that a big deal? Okay? That'd be like if we figured out a cure for autism. And you ask somebody with autism, hey, do you want the cure? And they say no. God bless them. That's their choice. Have you ever thought of asking what the people that were blind, what they wanted? Because I'm assuming MrBeast didn't go in there with a gun, put it to their head and say, we're curing your fucking blindness, you know? So...
here is that rather than, people getting help if they want it to, recover their vision. Many of these people had been, had perfect vision and then had become visually impaired. They wanted this surgery. They wanted to be able to see again. It's not like MrBeast was like holding people down who were like, no, I'm good. I actually have like embraced my situation and my disability and I'm happy, which if that's you, God, more power to you. That's beautiful. But these are people who wanted to be able to see. So it's not like he was like holding them down and forcing.
They have to remove chalk zone from the Papa God bingo. I said chalk zone twice in my entire career. And for some reason it's on Papa God bingo. It doesn't even make sense.
Them to cure their disability in a way that they didn't want.
It's like the Jack Nicholson meme of having your eye. What is that movie? One Flew Out of the... Whatever. I'm too young for that. Anyway, the Jack Nicholson meme of having his eyes like forced open and MrBeast is there like curing their blindness. No, like this is outrageous. Of course, Taylor Lorenz, by the way, got in on the action saying Clockwork Orange. There it is. Thank you, producer Griffin, in my ear. So what do we learn from this? Which is that these somehow, I don't know why, these people despise someone being successful by helping people by curing their blindness.
Where does Taylor
I will never
Lorenz
understand it. Taylor Lorenz, tweeting this out as if it's some like incredible, think piece that we're supposed to cherish this other side perspective. Look, if he was saying, I can't even believe that people live this way, denigrating them or something, okay, then I think that's a totally different case. And doing it not even really in an altruistic way.
Can you show me the Taylor Lorenz tweet? Like, it's part of your video. Why did you put it up there?
But doing it in a way where he's clearly doing it for clout or something like that. That'd be also another way of doing this. By all accounts, I mean, watch the video, people. People are like, it's
you'd have to. So this is the thing. If you to do the argument that he's doing it for clout in some capacity, you'd have to know his intentions, right? And we could speculate on intentions back and forth, and I have before on some videos. I mean, there are some very performative TikTok videos that come up to homeless people. And basically bully them for money, or like the situations where they go out to a restaurant and they tip their waiter by asking him to pick an envelope that either has $1 in it or $1,000. Those are situations where I think those are really shitty. I don't see, like, we have to stop assuming that people are operating in a bad capacity because we see so many do it. I've never seen anything from MrBeast that suggests that he is a dickhead. So like, why are we pretending that he deserves to have this lack of charitability? No.
Emotional, like people are crying, their families are happy. He was getting some of the money. They were like breaking down in joy and tears, and they were. I mean, it's a tough one to watch. And as you said in your monologue, the point is that such systems shouldn't even exist. Right. It's like how many more millions are afflicted by this, and what could we do as a society to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore? All right, that's a perfect takeaway. One of which he came away with. At first, we were thinking these are just fringe, strange characters, but no, I mean this is a mainstream. Look. For people who don't know, TechCrunch is a highly influential publication in Silicon Valley. Like, this is as establishment as it gets for a lot of people.
I've never heard of TechCrunch before. I would assume that they're like a big nobody that's desperate to be on like the front page of Google for like a day. And that gets into a conversation of like why it's very interesting because a lot of content creators fall into this trap where they start to lose traction, and which is a lot of times is temporary if you just keep on keeping on. And so what they do is they try to have a very provocative take. We've all been there. And then like, why though? Like, wouldn't you rather? I would rather have less attention for a little while than more attention for something negative. Sometimes you get negative attention. It is what it is. But like, why do you're so desperate to be on the map that you'll say something just dumb just for attention? That's what it reads as to me. Maybe they're being genuine and they're just like, morbidly unintelligent. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being hypocritical because I said we should give people the benefit of the doubt and think that they're being genuine just like a minute ago. But it's just hard to think that you're being genuine with such a dumb fucking take like this, In
the tech industry, and I'm mystified as to what exactly even compels somebody like Taylor or someone like this guy, Stephen Aquino. By the way, Aquino, he's locked his Twitter account, by the way.
Oh, really? Because of all that
criticism that was happening this way.
And
it's psychotic.
Stephen himself, which he talks about in the piece, has a number of disabilities. And in his view, he embraces his disabilities. He doesn't want to, be quote unquote cured for them or have them treated or whatever because he feels like they've made him who he is. So that's the way that he's approached it. That's fine. Beautiful, wonderful. But why are you, he says he's not judging these people who wanted to have their vision treated and restored. But that's kind of the subtext here, is that if you have a disability and you would prefer to recover your vision or be able to see for the first time, then that's sort of a failing on your part. So he projects a lot of like, oh, able-bodied people, they have a moral superiority over people with disabilities, which doesn't come out in this MrBeast video whatsoever. But the subtext of this piece is some moral superiority over people with disabilities who choose to embrace those disabilities versus those who choose to have them treated. That's the real moral superiority that I see coming through in this piece. So there's a lot going on there, but ultimately, MrBeast did nothing wrong. That's my opinion.
He didn't do a damn thing wrong. And I actually think it's important that people, because
The only thing that MrBeast did wrong is his chocolates are mid. Mid chocolates, baby. You got it.
It's not like people in the mainstream press are speaking out and saying that Taylor is psychotic or Stephen Aquino is psychotic for going after MrBeast like that. They'll roll their eyes in private, but people need to come out and be like, hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're actually insane if you have this perspective. So anyway, I think we should stand up for the guy. I really do feel bad because, this is probably the best video he's arguably ever done. Squid Game, even, just because it helped so many people. It's not just some individual person. And it actually raised I think for a lot of younger people who watch this, were like, hey, I had no idea that this even existed.
Yes.
That's a great thing to bring to people.
Most of I'm not a big MrBeast consumer, but I've watched a number of his videos, and most of them are not political at all. There's no underlying political message, whatever. This
Well, yeah, of course. This one doesn't really have one either.
one there actually was. I mean,
Well, I guess it depends on your interpretation. Like, I think that there is a political message to extract. I don't think that MrBeast is trying to create a political message, though. That's what I guess my point is here.
Talked about the statistics, the number of people who had their vision restored for one of this simple 10-minute surgery. And so, on the contrary, it wasn't just like, a neutral here. The fact that you're raising awareness about how morally bankrupt this disgusting healthcare system, for-profit healthcare system that we have here, and the failings that, around the world as well, that you're raising awareness about that. That's a positive thing. That's a great thing. That's reaching people who otherwise may not have really thought that through, that are just, MrBeast consumers, and they're not deeply political. So anyway, that's my view on it. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is
Okay. That was that.
I want Papa God to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.